I've been meaning to do this, and I wasn't gonna do it now. I was gonna react to Captain America Brave New World, I think it's called, first. But then this was announced, and the internet kind of like exploded because of it. Like, it was review bombed, which it is what it is. It was review bombed before the episodes were aired, which is kind of like stupid because I understand that pattern recognition is a thing, and I saw the trailers. I wasn't really impressed by what it was shown, but again, I haven't been impressed by a Marvel show since WandaVision, so I wasn't surprised. And I know, at least the people that I've talked to, they were also not impressed. I'm not saying that there's no people out there that just want to see things fail to have something to talk about, because that is very much the case. I would know. I've been on that side of the internet and I know how it operates. But I also think that this is just a case of people seeing that Disney and Marvel are just committing the same mistakes over and over again and not really learning their lesson and not really listening to the audience and what the audience wants. And it's just kind of like a, well, you, Marvel, I'm gonna review bomb your show. And that doesn't really do anything aside from just making sure that every single bit of criticism is just buried and labeled as hatred. I'm gonna try to go into this with an open mind. Let's get into it.
Your girl finna be bigger than Johns.
Right.
Bigger than Gates.
Right.
Bigger than Penn.
Right.
Bigger than Stark.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right out of the get-go, like, I was literally complaining about this on social media about the fact that people are incapable of writing strong female characters without falling in stereotypes that make them unlikable. Because I understand for a lot of people, this is just gonna come off like, oh, she's just being confident, which is great. It's a great trait to have, especially in a young woman. But I think this is gonna be a personality trait of Riri. Oh, I'm gonna be better than Tony Stark. I'm gonna be better than Hank Pym. I'm gonna be better than Steve Jobs. Like, girl, you don't have to be better than anyone. You just have to be yourself. You don't have to be better than men. You just have to be you. And I don't think people realize that, we're not competing with men. Women are not competing with men on everything. You don't have to constantly prove yourself on anything. She doesn't have to prove herself. She doesn't have to prove to the audience that she's better than Tony Stark for us to like her. What a way to start.
What do you want more than anything?
I just want to be happy.
So she's dying, 100%. She's dead. We know that information.
I realized I'm gonna need the equivalent of a whole vibranium mountain to be great.
I'm sorry. So we're talking about, for her to actually get her ideas out of her and make it happen, she needs resources. And you're telling me that Wakanda is not going to give her the resources that she needs? Like, they're not just going to, print out infinite resources for Riri?
Think Tony Stark would be Tony Stark if he wasn't a billionaire?
Yes. The whole point with Tony Stark is like, okay, yeah, he came from a very rich family, but the only reason Tony Stark is because he's a genius. Tony also proved himself time and time again that he could be Tony Stark even when he didn't have any resources. When he's kidnapped by the Ten Rings, he literally makes an Iron Man suit in a cave with scraps.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Tony Stark is Tony Stark. He is a genius, even when he doesn't have any access to any type of fancy resources.
My means of fundraising have been a little
So she's a criminal?
experimental.
What are we doing? Again? Are we here again? So she is what? Helping people fake their essays and stuff like that for university, for college, which is a crime. Are we making her a criminal? Let me state this very clearly. Are we making the black girl a criminal? The only way for this black female character to be successful in this harsh world is to be a criminal, to do illegal things. Is that where we're at right now? Is this gonna get worse?
I want to continue Mr. Stark's legacy and revolutionize safety.
I don't understand what we're doing here. So she takes like stabs at Tony for, oh, he's a white man that is rich. He was a billionaire. That's the only reason why Tony Stark, it's Tony Stark. And in the same breath, she's like, oh, but I want to keep his legacy alive. Except you don't have anything to do with his legacy. I guess Ironheart, the entire point of this character is that she's supposed to be the spiritual successor for Iron Man. But we never see them together. We never see them interacting. We never see them, you know, influence each other in any way. We got that with Peter Parker. So if anyone thinks, oh, who is the successor for Iron Man's legacy, we all think Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker. And the fact that they're trying to weave this entire narrative around that she wants to best Tony Stark while also respecting his legacy.
If I could just get my idea off the ground, help would never be too late. This could...
So I'm calling it right now, right? Sister, I think her name is Natalie. She's dead. Something happened. Traumatic, most likely. And help didn't arrive fast enough. So Riri has spent her entire life trying to, you know, make things that doesn't happen to other people. Like, this happened to me, I don't want this to happen to anybody else, so I'm gonna make it my life's goal to make sure, you know, I can help people the way that I couldn't help my sister. Amazing, great, lovely. I don't think the execution to get from point A to point B, it's gonna be good. So I think now she's gonna get kicked out of college, and now she's gonna go boom, like dive headfirst into being a criminal. Because that's what we do.
What do I get out of matriculation?
So why are you here?
Some job in Palo Alto with a tiny window and a bunch of guys I have to pretend to like.
A job? She gets a job? No. What do you think people go to college for? To get a job, to get a stable job.
You want me to be small. But I refused.
Not everyone gets to go to college. Not everyone gets to, you know, further their education. And for you to say, oh, I know that I'm better than everyone here. I know that I can do bigger, better things. And if I stay here, which by the way, no one is forcing you to stay in college. You're literally begging them to let you stay in college because you're basically like leeching off their resources to make your like vision come true. That's the only reason you want to stay. But you're still begging them to let you stay. And in the same breath, you're like, oh, but this shit sucks. I hate this place. You guys are trying to keep me small. You're doing it on purpose. You want me small.
That's a hot pile of garbage.
Hell yeah!
Correct.
I really
You
like
show
this.
Completed assignments to students at every school.
Yeah,
in
you
the area.
are doing
Cambridge,
illegal
Providence,
shit. Get a
New
job,
Haven.
girl.
Frankly, MIT has a zero tolerance policy.
She's
on
in
plagiarism.
MIT? There's no way the government would allow Riri to just keep the Iron Man suit. It doesn't matter that she made it with her own money. You can make a nuclear bomb with your own money. That doesn't mean you get to keep it.
16 RW.
Access granted. How can I help you today?
Why would she have
Take us
access
home, Trevor.
to MIT resources if she was expelled effective immediately? Her student ID would be scrapped from the system. She's not an MIT student, so that wouldn't work. So she's gonna go full-on criminal. Like, full-on. Are they making all the minority, like, there's not a single white person in this team. And if they are, they go by they, them, they're non-binary, they're not, let me rephrase that, there's no straight white people in this team. And they're gonna make the minorities thieves and criminals. But it's like, how are you trying to move forward by taking 15,000 steps back? Like, I think it would be much more compelling if we see Riri put together a team. Like, actually, we get to know the people that she's gonna, like, be working with.
Don't worry, guys. I got it. Don't panic. I'm fixing it.
Is that the guy from... No. Isn't this the guy from the interviews thing?
Stuart, my guy, what is the holdup?
Terrible acting. Listen, dual diversity all you want. I don't. Can we get good actors though?
I call it dragon's breath.
That was lame as hell. In today's day and age, you get diversity hires, right? Which is great, amazing. As soon as they are good at their job, I don't give a shit. But the problem is, 9 or 10 times, you just pick diversity hires for the sake of ticking off a checklist. And that wouldn't be bad if there was actually effort put on making them part of a narrative. Listen to me. Show me why they are good at what they do, why they belong in this specific role, in this specific team. Don't tell me. Don't make them super cocky, super unlikable, super rude, because then I'm not gonna have any sort of kinship and empathy towards them. I don't care about none of these people. I find them kind of ridiculous. What are they doing? There's no sense of urgency. But the music is telling me there's a sense of urgency.
Why is the alarm going off?
No.
So they're useless. Terrible action scenes.
Cops are gonna be here any minute thanks to our boy Stewie. Slug's gonna text you new pickup coordinates now.
And again, I hate that everything interesting happens off screen. This could have been a very interesting way of showcasing their skills, but we don't see none of that. We don't see anything that would have been like tense and interesting, like kind of like a, get the fuck out of Dodge scene. We just cut to them being completely safe and sound because they're that competent, except they're not, because they got caught. They had no masks. They're doing a heist, no masks, nothing that impedes like security cameras of like, tracking their faces. They, of course, they're gonna change the tag on the car and the stickers on the side, but the van and the model and the color is still the same.
Yo, Hood. Done stripping the van.
We love it. We love when, like the need of representation and diversity goes on a full circle where it just becomes offensive as hell. Because why is it that every minority are thieves? Obviously, they're going to have reasons, and they're all going to be valid reasons to steal from the rich. They don't deserve it. They're just going to try to spin a Robin Hood like narrative with this. But why did you do this, Marvel? The Hood? You look lame as hell. This guy is just actively walking around in a hood? Is it a magical hood? Do people not see the hood? Because he's conspicuous as f. Isn't that the point of the hood? To like hide your identity from others? But you're just walking around with the hood down? So why are you even the hood? Did us?
Xavier. Sure. Tell him to
The
meet me
most
on my
likable character is that goddamn pencil.
Where you at? Nah.
Obviously, you were expelled. Oh boy.
I'm not trying to be mean, but you look a hot mess.
The acting is abysmal so far.
So,
This kid has no
what am I
future
supposed to
in
call
acting.
you?
$20.
Yeah.
That's highway robbery.
Huh.
Yeah, that sounds like a new
And
problem.
funny, because guess who's gonna be stealing things soon? Riri? Not London.
A lot of kids act out for years after a traumatic event.
But Riri's always been like this, though.
Can we go back to when writing was all about show, don't tell? Can we have like organic ways of showing this without having to tell me straight to my face like, oh, a traumatic event happened, which we already knew. My sister died under traumatic circumstances and I was witnessed to it, and now I want to save the world because of her. Great. But why do you have to tell me, oh, she went through a traumatic experience? And to what I'm assuming is her friends, which they would know this information. So why are we stating that out loud yet again at this very convenient point in the story?
Why do you insist on building your own death trap?
It's just gonna be
Because I can.
What is that supposed to mean?
South of Midnight situation where mom is completely warranted in her right to scold her daughter for being just a mess. And then there's like, well, I am better than you. And we're supposed to believe that mom is in the wrong.
Hey, black people.
Hello.
Is this how black people interact with one another? I don't know. I'm asking because I'm completely ignorant on the subject, obviously. And I bet people are gonna say this is not for you. Which kind of it's on Disney Plus. It didn't say only black people allowed to watch this show when I clicked on it, so you know. But doesn't this feel like a caricature? Is it me? I understand there's culture that I'm not privy to because I wasn't born in it, but this to me feels like a parody of what people think black people are like. Is it just me? Like, I don't think this is great representation. Is any representation good? I don't think so. I think I would want good representation, which is why I'm clamoring about, like, you know, actually having well-written female characters for. Like, I don't want just representation. I just don't want to see female characters in a movie and call it a day. I want them to be good characters, memorable characters, characters that grow with the narrative. Wow.
I could build 1,000 other things, and no one would care.
But you're building the Iron Man suit. You said you wanted to build the Iron Man suit. You said you wanted to build multiple Iron Man suits to basically replace law enforcement and first responders so they would actually get the job done more efficiently. You are obsessed with the Iron Man suits. Huh?
I hope you don't mind.
That's gonna be them right there. You guys cannot see them, but that's gonna be probably like on the mural, Natalie and stepdad right there. 100%. I'm calling it right now. I know my stuff.
Just wanted to show you the mural they put up of your stepdad and my sister while you were away.
Hell, they couldn't be more on the goddamn nose if they tried, okay?
I don't have it anymore. I sold it for money. For my suit.
I'm guessing this entire thing is just gonna be like, oh, I will do anything for money. And then at the end, it's like, well, I actually won't do everything for money. And she's gonna set herself apart from the others. And there's gonna be a confrontation between her and the hood. And she's gonna kind of like steal her team members into her side. Very predictable. It is what it is. But it's like they're like, yeah, I will do anything to fulfill my dream. I have to get out of this place. I am bigger than this pond. I am the bigger fish. And then she's like, well, maybe I like my little pond and I'm gonna protect it. It's gonna be very cliche and very stereotypical. And the fact that I'm supposed to be rooting for her, like, I get it if they actually showed me sides of her where I could be like, oh, she's hurting. I see that. They don't see that, but I see it. So that's why she's reacting like this. But they don't show you shit. They keep telling you stuff.
I had it under control.
I know you did.
Is that how you're gonna react to this? Is that how we're reacting to this? To someone that is obviously sus, very sketch, has a lot of money on hand, paying for your shit, very convenient, and obviously trying to get into your good graces, and you're like, oh, I had it under control. Like, it's an ego thing again.
Thanks, Oda.
Why would you thank him? You don't know what... You should be
you're too special to be
suspicious
trash, right?
about him.
How come you're not working at, like, I don't know, Stark Industries or something? And you're at least as smart as that Tony guy, right?
Listen, the Winter Soldier, like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Iron Man, the first one, are one of my favorite movies. Not just Marvel movies, my favorite movies of all time. And the fact that my boy Tony is being consistently like put down throughout this entire episode, it's pissing me the off. Because why do we have to put people down to lift other people up? I don't get it. I don't understand.
I just met you. And he contributed immensely to the field, so I won't roast Tony Stark off rip.
That's the only reason why I won't roast him. Because, I mean, he was kind of good at what he did. But, yeah, I mean, I am better than him.
I don't have $1 billion. And I can't compete without...
You can! You can! We've seen people compete without... Like, who are you competing with, first of all? Yourself. That's the only person you're competing with here. Your ego. Because we've seen Tony doing it in a cave with scraps. And then we see another, like, Tony Stark level genius, Peter Parker. He also did it by himself. He figured it out all by his lonesome. He was Spider-Man, you know, or trying to be, before Tony got into his life. Is she, after this conversation, gonna actually, like, look into this? Or is she just gonna trust the guy she just met that looks like, you know, he sells organs for a living? No research. Great. Great, Riri. Very smart. You are definitely smarter than Tony Stark. And Steve Jobs. And Hank Pym. Definitely smarter than all of them. She's young. Fuck off.
Somebody come open this door.
I'm facing the consequences of my actions. Oh, they're trying to test her.
You'll suffocate, die unless...
Hello? This is illegal.
No! You know what else is illegal, Riri? Selling essays and theses in MIT and stealing their resources that they lend to you during your internship in your time as a student. That's also illegal. This is like escape room bullshit. Like, this is lame as hell. We haven't seen not one instance in what? How long has it been? 25 minutes, let's say. Not one instance of Riri actually being a genius. She has consistently taken the harder route and picked the dumbest choice and option available to her every single time. And you're trying to make me sit here and believe she is more intelligent than Tony Stark. We don't see her, like, be a genius. We don't see her be smart. We just see her get everything chewed for her, deposited in her mouth, and fucking, you know, like a baby bird pushed down her throat. That's all we see.
Totally. I get Weekend Warrior vibes from this one. Takes one to know one.
She's gonna use the caliper. Watch.
It doesn't matter.
They're f***ing cringe. They're cringe. They don't have individual personalities except I'm the drag queen. I'm the non-binary one. Well, I'm a lesbian. They don't have individual personalities. This is the problem with checklist characters. They are not their own person. They're there as a mirror, a reflective surface. So someone in the audience goes, oh, I'm also non-binary. Is that all you are? Is that all your personality boils down to? Terrible. Terrible. There's no stakes here. Like, you're trying to sell me here in this, like, scene. Riri thinks she's gonna die. So her brain is working overtime, on overload, to figure out, like, okay, how do I get myself out of this situation that I walked into with my own 2 feet very willingly, despite all the red flags waving in the wind. And then you cut off to the most unimpressing, unintimidating team of weirdos that do not blend at all, and they don't seem like a team. They don't seem like they know what they're doing. We've seen them at work, and we know they're useless at what they do. And any sort of tension that could have been had, it's lost. Show me Riri getting out of here. Show me her, like, getting to, you know, out of the elevator into a dark room. And she thinks, okay, I'm in danger. People are gonna get me. And then the lights come out and they're like, hey, you did a really good job. And there's that dichotomy of her, like, being in the verge of a panic attack, like, tense. And then them, knowing she was never in any real danger, be like, oh, you passed. You did great. We don't get that. We get everything chewed for us. We get everything told to us. We know this is an interview. We know they were never going to let her die. And then we see that they're, like, amused because they know she's not in real danger. Yeah, do that. That's very smart. Chewing on a live electrical wire with your teeth. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. This is obviously just very bad actors reacting to a monitor with a green screen on. It's going, ooh, ah.
I heard Riri.
Lame as hell. The hood is lame as hell, and they're probably gonna like prop him out as an antagonist for when Riri decides like, you know what? I don't want to steal things anymore. Then you get this guy that no one takes seriously because he's just a comedic relief. This guy, who is the best actor out of all of them, and why would you choose this role? Why would you do this to yourself? The drag queen, who no one cares about, and I'm sorry, but you're not a good actor, and this is terrible. This person is on. What are you wearing? And then these two, I don't care about. Like they're completely like have no personality whatsoever. Look, they're even covered by my camera. You don't see them. You're not gonna want to see them. And the thing is, there's so many people with so little personality, so little time to actually like develop a connection with Riri and the audience. And I don't care about any one of them. They're all lame as hell. Look at them. I'm supposed to think that they're gonna get anything done. It feels like a Disney movie. Not in this sense, like a Disney Channel movie. Like The Descendants. Except I think The Descendants might be better than this.
Soon enough, you're gonna get tired of making yourself so small to fit inside those
He said it.
boxes they put you in.
Funny that you say that. Because this show, it's putting you into tiny boxes. Ironic.
Consider this a signing bonus. And if you
She's lame as hell. And you know the problem here is that we don't really have a good reason for her to be so money hungry. I wish there were like clearly like signs of mom is struggling for money. Like we see mom, we see her happy, right? We see her happy, we see her surrounded by friends, we see her working through her grief. We see her thriving. We see her living her life as she should. We don't see them living in a shithole. We don't see mom having like 8 jobs to feed, her daughter. We don't see Riri like, dressed in rags or anything like that. We see her going to MIT. We see her being privileged, really. So we don't really have a good reason for her to be money hungry, aside from the fact that she thinks she has to prove herself. And to do that, to be better than the men that did this before her, she needs to have access to the same amount of money that they did. Except she doesn't mention the fact that Hank Pym and all these, like, they were self-made as well. And that's how you start, right? She could have been self-made. But instead of doing that, of working her way from the ground up, she takes shortcuts. Stupid ass shortcuts. Because listen to me, why would you trust any of these people? Why would you come here to begin with? Why would you get into an abandoned pizzeria place just because a guy that you met earlier today at a very convenient time when you needed, money the most, pays for your shit that is very expensive? He pays quite a bit of money for you, someone that he doesn't know, and he doesn't expect anything in return except for you to like meet him in a very specific location at a very specific time, away from prying eyes. And that doesn't ring any alarm bells. She's not smart. She's not intelligent. So far, they have set her up for failure. This writing is terrible. The acting is terrible. The way they chose to, make this show is terrible. The scenes that they chose to show and the scenes that they didn't show are terrible. And I don't understand how you can sit here and be like, oh, this is a great show, actually. It isn't. And we have to be open to criticism. We have to be willing to hear hard truths so this is improved, because there is room for improvement, so much room for improvement. By trying to appeal to the most varied range of people possible and not really focusing on anything and not doing anything particularly well, then you disappoint your target audience. And aside from that, the audience that you really have to appeal to, which is the general audience, which is the one that rakes in the views and the money. And then no one wins and no one watches your shit. And no one watches your next show and your next movie because they know that you keep tripping on the same stone over and over and over again.
Hey, Xavier, it's me, Nat. Need you to do Big Sis a favor. I'm over here. Riri's cutting up again. Up for me, alright?
The face acting. I'm about to have a mental breakdown, and I go, huh, huh. That's it? What are you betting? That the hood and the Mexican guy are involved? That they're connected to this, to the shootout?
I tried calling you, but you never want to talk about him or Natalie.
So now it's my fault that you let Gary's dream die.
Bitch! So yeah, they're going this angle of like, mommy's completely warranted in her criticism. And she's like, it's your fault though. Everything is your fault. You did this to us. So there's gonna be magic involved in this. The hood has to be something like that. Probably like, I read a comic book. It was a Hawkeye comic book. I don't know if it was the hood in that one, but the hood allows him, like, he had a connection, like a deal with a demon, and then he could turn into a demon himself. But that guy was, I don't know if it's the same character, but that one was actually compelling and well written, and it was good. I don't know if there was some character. I hope they're not, because I cannot recognize that character from the comic book in this character. So hopefully they're not the same.
I just want to be happy.
I knew she was gonna die. But they're showing her too much, so they're gonna bring her back in some way. She either didn't die, or she's gonna do something. Is she gonna make her into Jarvis? She has the tapes. She has her voice. So is she gonna make her into Jarvis? Or like Friday? Or she's gonna make Natalie her AI? Yeah.
Hell no.
So that just happened. So she's the AI. I guess you can see she's glitching. But we don't see her, like, actually make her, like, create the AI. She just kind of becomes the AI. Is that what we're doing? We don't see her actually create the AI. Like, she said, stronger suit, better AI. But we don't see Riri work on the AI. So did the AI did an Ultron and gave sentience? And chose to... How did they have access to the likeness of Natalie? Is she imagining this? Is this how her grief, like, it's showing? What is this? Oh yeah, that was terrible. That was just straight up ass. Before people start commenting like, oh, but you have to watch the entire show to see if you like it. I don't, actually. I don't have to watch, like, 2 seasons of a show before I start to like it. Like, a show, its job, episode 1, it's meant to, set the setting, to set the characters, and to get me to be invested in the story, to make me want to watch more of it. This episode has done the complete opposite. It has the complete opposite effect of, I'm not invested in this whatsoever. I'm not invested in any single character. Again, the most compelling and funny character in the entire show was the pencil AI. And now that's gone. So that was my favorite character in the show. This is terrible. The acting is terrible. The writing is terrible. Just the way they chose to tell this story, like, I don't know. I feel like there's scenes that needed to be shown that they completely, like, overlooked or just skipped. And then there's scenes that are just weird and serve no purpose. And it's kind of like, what are we doing? How this came to be? So, as someone that has watched Ironheart episode 1, I wouldn't recommend anyone to watch it. It's not something that I would watch. Like, there's Marvel movies that I might not be the biggest fan of that I still watch, because there's something in them that it's funny. Like there's a moment, a character, a bit of dialogue, something that makes me want to come back to them. This has nothing of that. Like no, like the action is bad, the dialogue is bad, the relationship between the characters is bad, the acting is bad. There's nothing redeemable about this. And I say that with a heavy heart because I am a Marvel fan. I want to like these movies, okay? And then you get stuff like this, and I think it's just a case of way too many cooks in the kitchen. You cannot create a cohesive story when every single chapter of that story is written by completely different authors. I think it's a case of just there's no like consistent theme. There's no overarching arc and string that ties everything together. It's just a Marvel slash Disney movie, and unfortunately nowadays that means that they're not good. This is not good, and I don't believe it's gonna pick up from here. I am gonna continue watching the show, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's gonna redeem itself. But that was episode 1 of Ironheart. A 4 so far. It's not the worst thing I've ever watched. I literally sat through, The Accountant too, and that was painful. That was terrible. I have watched the Cowboy Bebop live action. That is terrible. This is okay, but I don't think I want to watch shows that are just okay. I want to watch shows that are great. I could be watching The Punisher. I could be watching Daredevil. I could be rewatching WandaVision. Hell, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as lackluster as it was, at least the actors were good and the chemistry was there. Even though the show wasn't it, the ingredients were there. This is just like trying to make an omelette without eggs, just with the power of imagination.